Inge, thank you very much for coming and doing a transformative.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Transformative, so that everybody knows, is a series we've been doing for a while where we talk to the people in fashion who help make the images. So the hairdressers, makeup artists, stylists, art directors, and so on. So let's just start. When did we first meet?
Good question. There we go. Dates. I think it.
I don't need a date. I just need an event.
No, but I think like it must be end of the 90s, beginning of.
Right.
2000, maybe something like that.
Right. All right.
Because I still was with my first agency.
Right.
And I think they contacted you because you were the only person that I wanted to work with.
Oh, how nice.
Once in my life. That was the thing. And I think like Katou, at that moment she contacted you. I was with Streeters in Paris, and I think that was the reason I passed by at your house.
Right.
And I think I had with me, because before all the books, those 2 books came out, I had a little book that was called Makeup Inge Grognard or something like that. Really a very small book. And I think I brought that to you.
Right.
That was the first contact.
But fantastic. Yeah. Digging back again.
Yeah, but that was the beginning, I think.
Right, okay. And what was the first thing we worked on together?
Was that McQueen?
Was it McQueen?
There was a video, no, another magazine.
Our first job that I remember really well was Pagan Poetry.
Yeah, true.
So I can't remember.
Oh, that was also, I was so nervous.
Were you nervous? Why?
No, because like it was a big project, you know, and working, because normally I never work with personalities. I try to avoid that.
Really? Mm-hmm. Actually, that's yes, that makes sense.
I really tried to avoid that. I said, okay, let's be open, let's see what's going to happen. But I was also on my own. I think I didn't have an assistant then. And then the pearls, sticking the pearls were falling off. Oh my God. She was very timid. You know, she's very shy. And she doesn't know you. So the second, it was 2 days of filming, I think. The first day was really like, ooh. I was like, oh my God, how could I handle that? Okay, you don't show it, but inside I was like, dying. I can be honest now. But at the end, the result was really beautiful, and I think still when I hear the song, it's still an amazing song.
Yeah, it is.
And I remember also it was the beginning when I think she's just started with Matthew Barney.
Yes, that's what the song was about.
The other relationships ended, and that was the beginning. Do you know what is really amazing? I saw her back for another shoot in Iceland when this relationship was finished.
Well, we've been working with her, of course, because we did the Ovule, so we did that single with her just this year, in fact. The Pagan Poetry song was, I'm sure I'm not giving anything away here, was about Matthew Barney. You know, she was so in love.
So in love, and so I see her singing in the studio for real the whole time, and that was an amazing experience. I think I still have the image in front of me. But I was nervous because the pearls, they didn't stick really well. The thing is also, I say always to my assistants, when you're not really scared anymore, when you're too trusting yourself too much, no.
You always have to go through that difficult, unpleasant moment of fear and failure when you begin. I find that I've spoken about it quite a bit because it is such an important part of the creative process. You have to go through this kind of, it's not nice. And over the years, because I've been doing this for 40 years now, roughly, you learn coping mechanisms. But you can't take that out.
No,
you can't go into a shoot not frightened. You can't go into a shoot not sort of, in a sort of, you can't go in feeling relaxed and happy. I'm sure some people do, but I can't. No.
Never, in a way.
You have to.
Like afterwards, I look back and say, afterwards you look back and say, could have done this better.
I want to talk to you about Martin Margiela. So was he your first, if you want, big creative relationship?
But let's say, because I met him when I was 14.
Right.
So he was the first.
Right.
Through his niece, I was 13, he was 14, I think, and he was living in the same area as I was living. I went to high school with his niece, so she was also busy with clothes. I was busy with clothes, he was busy with clothes. So I met him, and then the thing, and there it happened.
Martin, in general, for me, was I think I only met him a couple of times when he was in Paris. But always seemed to be a very lovely man.
And very on his own. He's not somebody who's shouting.
Yeah.
He's very in the back. That's the reason you never saw him on shows or whatever. He never gave at a certain moment an interview to the press, whatever. He wanted to stay like unknown, that he could go to do his shopping also on shops, Paris, whatever. He could walk on the street and nobody knew who he was. And that's the thing, because he said also to me afterwards, working for Gaultier, when he was with Gaultier in a restaurant, like everybody jumped on him, and he said, I was so happy that nobody knew me. That's also what I told, like there was like fashion talks like a couple of years ago, I think in Antwerp, and there was somebody coming from the States who was busy with history of fashion, and she was explaining the whole thing, and that was the moment also that I realized, me too, I was part of that starting history of fashion in Belgium, because we didn't have any fashion. It started in the 80s with them, in the 70s, but really in the 80s. And then time made it important, because when you're in it, you don't know.
No, sure.
It's like only like when time passes by, you realize, oh my God, yes. He wrote, and I think in a way like Martin, he wrote history in fashion.
Absolutely.
He did it.
I mean, he has become one of the most respected designers ever, which I think is, I mean, so he should be. But I think it's quite an achievement for a man, who was so, retiring, and also stopped his house. Not so, after how many years was the house
20.
open? 20 years. Right.
Yeah. Excellent. But also, I think, like at a certain moment, like when you sell your house, like the new owner, they can ask you so many things that you don't feel comfortable anymore with.
No. It's always a very difficult relationship between creativity and money.
Because and it doesn't stop the collections. You have to like make collections every month, and then you have to think about houseware. Then you have to make perfumes. It's a non-stop thing. And at a certain moment, when you think, and I think he did it really clever, he told his story. And when the story is told, I think it's the same with Raf now.
Well,
when your story is told, it's better like just to say, okay, basta. Same I'm going to do.
Okay.
I give myself a couple more years and then, okay, maybe consulting or whatever. But the thing is like, when I'm not longer relevant, basta.
Going back to Martin, why I wanted to talk to you, one of the reasons I want to talk to you about him is because he has a strange thing, which is almost sort of, I want to know how you feel about this. A lot of the time he's taken the face away. So in the lookbooks, they were pixelated, drawn on. A lot of time he was taking the face away, and of course the face is primarily your area of work. So was that a difficult relationship?
Because the thing is, I understood why he did that. Because the thing is, when you read interviews from Martin in the beginning, he said always like, the clothes are speaking for themselves.
Right.
All the rest is not important. I'm not important. In a way, like the model, and no. It was a little bit in between sometimes, but for him, the clothes had to tell the story.
Because Martin didn't do, as far as I'm aware, any advertising campaigns.
No,
and
there was no money for that.
No, you were very, very closely associated with him. Your work was primarily seen on the catwalk, is that correct?
That's the only thing, that's the reason I made that little book in '98.
Right.
And that were only like pictures from the shows I did, because I was, nobody was interviewing me. I didn't work really for the magazines in England because, I didn't move out of Belgium, so it was hard. I didn't have an agent.
So Inge, this is an image that I pulled from the sort of to represent your relationship with Martin. And you were saying that mainly your work is being expressed through the catwalk, which is I'll talk about that in a second. Would you say that's a good way? If I was to say to you in a kind of corny way, what's your favourite image, your favourite makeup you did for Martin, which one would it be?
This is one that is really like, it's there, And it became really a thing on its own. And I have to tell you, it came through like working with a shadow.
Oh, really?
Like they had umbrellas above their hat, and I made the makeup with a real hat on, so to have the shadow right. And it's not in black; it's in dark brown. We made it had also something to do. It was like the shadow of the umbrellas, and on top there was like the white of the Colgate, the toothpaste. So we had the teeth are whitened. The lips were red, and I think the blacks were painted in white also, with stockings on top. That was a complicated thing going on. And I had like to have the teeth whitened I had to put like those cottons, like, you know, there, not to have a wet mouth. And so I had assistants, like, no, we had a little cabin with the hat, with the lamp on top, so to have the line right. So they did like a little line, and then they had to fill it in. So it was a lot of work.
So where does all this come? So let's just go through this particular makeup. Is that something that Martin would come to you with? Was it something you would see during the...
It's a thing that he was busy with it like for 6 months with the collection, you know, and there was a kind of ambience. There was also Italian music. I remember like a song that he picked out of a cassette recorder or was it Nina? It was something Italian.
Nina Rotto?
Maybe.
Yeah, kind of. Well,
it's like, but you have to hear the video again, and then I know. But then the thing is, he explained me, and the girls will walk, and there will be a man with them walking with an umbrella, and then he was talking about a shadow.
Right.
So, and then it's up to me to realize that shadow.
Yeah. One of the pictures I wanted to talk to you about, and actually it sort of very much, for me, sort of sums up what you do. Okay, here we are. Traces, exactly. But
traces and torture. Because this was like, but this was not, you know, it was like the hearts, how do you call that, like in a metal thing.
Oh, really?
That made really like traces on our face.
Yeah.
Look right, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was really pushed into it until I had the marks, then I took it off, and then only the 4 little diamonds were 4. I think 4 were stayed. It was about traces and marks,
Because that in a way, if I was looking for one image which, if nobody had ever seen your work and nobody knew you, and I had to describe you, I would start with this picture, because then it stops people thinking, oh, she's a makeup artist, therefore she puts, you know, red lips, blue eyes, pink cheeks, pale face, you know. So to get people to understand what you do, I think this is a very interesting way. And who was this done for?
V magazine.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Long time ago.
But the cross on the face is something that
I use often.
Yeah. So is this part of the same series?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
This is me.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that you?
I started to make a mask of myself.
Right. Okay.
And then Ronald took a picture. Yeah. But that was the period I was really angry with a lot of things happening. It was my protest. So, yes, that one. You see the fake smile.
Yeah.
So it was, I made the masks, and then on top of it I put the red cord, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there is quite a lot of violence in your work, and that's reaction. There was a quote, I think it's in your book actually, from our friend Walter van Beurendonk, who said, with Inge, it's like a fight.
It's not a fight that we never agree. But the thing is,
he does say something nice at the end of the sentence, by the way. But in the end, it's always fantastic. But he does say it's like a fight, and you are fairly, I mean, it's very nicely pugnacious. So you are quite straightforward with what you say, and you're quite passionate, and you're quite.
That's the thing, and also when I believe. Because sometimes you have really to think about an idea, but when the idea is there, I'm the first to sell my idea.
Yeah.
And the thing, when people don't understand it, I can be really. I know that.
Right. Okay. So there's a very famous picture that you've done, which I'm not going to show you all the time, which looks like a sort of a brushstroke against the girl's cheek.
That was Dries on Tanga. So I remember that, it was a show. And the thing was, the briefing was desert.
Right. Okay.
It was something, the clothes had something to do with desert and the color. So I said, I always have an image in front of me. I see girls struggling, like walking in the desert. Right. Like they had like sweat on the face and things were, you know, when you walk in the desert with wind and sand and everything.
Yeah.
Don't know what else is in the desert, but then you know,
enough.
Yeah. But then the thing is like it's sticking to your face. You see them like walking like this, and then you have those traces.
Okay.
In a way, I work a lot of times with traces.
Right. Okay. Do you have a favorite model?
No.
Didn't think you did.
No, it's not. I don't have a favorite. No, I don't have favorites.
Right.
I love people. I love faces. I love strong faces. I have to say, and for me, the most important thing is also like it's. Not that I know always the inside of people, but I feel a lot.
No, I mean, I used to use a lot of models from the street as well, because the people you see on the street are amazing. You know? And for a long time, I was very nervous about working with kind of, which is stupid, but, in the sort of, A, arrogance of youth, and B, also the kind of, it wasn't really a world I understood, whereas I understood people from the street in a way that I could see them and I would approach them. That's how I started my photography. Just walking down the street saying, "Oh, you look great, can I take your picture?"
That's the best.
So that's how, that was my way into photography. If you want, you go out into the street and you photograph people you're interested in. So
and also like to find like interesting faces, because of course, like when you work a lot with models, beautiful bodies, beautiful, but it's not enough for me.
Yeah, well,
it's like it's not always inspiring me. You know what I mean?
No, I understand. For me, where I felt that I learned why models can be great is because they are professional people who wear clothes. They're people that know how to make a piece of clothing come alive. So you can put somebody in from, you find the street who looks amazing as they're dressed, but then you dress them in something else and they don't understand what they're wearing, therefore they don't know how to wear it.
And they lose it.
And they lose it.
Yeah.
And a great model, whoever you care to mention as a great model, will be able to show you the narrative of that piece of clothing. They'll be able to
and they give you like a kind of a transformation, which is really good.
I just want to show you a photograph which might be of interest. But you work with your husband, Ronald.
Yeah, it's easy also. It's brainstorming at the kitchen table.
Yeah, well.
No, we argue a lot.
Do you?
Oh yeah, of course.
Right, I'm not trying to pry into your relationship,
No,
but it is a particular way. So to have somebody so close, who in some ways was responsible with you for creating the images that you use. Your book with him that I have, very proud to have a copy of, starts with this picture. Could you tell me about that, please, Inge?
That was a collaboration with the couple AF Vandevorst.
Okay. Yeah.
And we had to do a thing for, was it the Belgian magazine? Not really important, but we made the best out of it.
Right.
So it started with, I think like in this story, there are like two hats of the animal in it.
Yeah.
And it's like that weirdness, like, what was it like? It could be like somebody who came out of the sea, like who was hidden behind the thing that was lost there. You could, in a way, you can fill it in however you want.
Yeah.
But it's always like with us, a lot of people, they think it's very creepy. But
why? What?
Yeah, when you use dead heads and blood and dark thoughts, and they're there, I suppose. But also, like I think, like for me, there's both things in it. You can fill this story in however you want.
Yeah.
It's a creature that ended up out of the sea, is hiding behind a part of that. What is it like? An animal there.
Yeah. Serge Lutens. Is he the Antichrist for you?
He is somebody who inspired me a lot when I was young.
That's very interesting, because he's almost, with respect, he's almost the opposite of what you do.
But he was there in the beginning, when he was still, I still remember his images that he did for Dior, before he went to Shiseido.
Oh really? Yeah. But he has a whole, do you know?
He had a whole universe, you know what I mean, like pale face, he did pictures himself.
Yeah.
He did everything. He made like hats, he styled them, he put them in a position, he did the makeup, he did everything.
Yeah, but he paints away reality.
Yeah.
My point.
And my thing is the opposite.
Exactly. So I wondered, that's interesting, because I noticed in the back of your book, you credit him.
Yeah, he wrote some words.
Yeah.
Because I said, I really want to have some, it took me a while, but okay, unmanaged.
Yeah.
And he didn't know me and whatever, but it's also coming from the north of France and near the border of Belgium, Lille.
Right, okay, yeah.
And what he did was in a way that I wanted to do makeup, he was in the beginning there for me.
Yeah.
But of course, I never wanted to copy somebody. Like, you take things out of it, because there's also a kind of darkness in his images.
Copying is like the most unsatisfactory thing in the world. If you try and copy something and you even achieve a replica of it, there's no satisfaction in it.
And I'm very bad in that. When they give me a thing and I said, I can't do that. It's against my hand.
Yeah.
But I'm also very free-handed.
Yeah.
Then you need to have people who are really technical and they don't mind. It's not that I think it's like I'm looking down to it, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, but it is interesting, because your work is about leaving reality, or hardly modifying it in a way, just bringing something to it. And Serge's work is literally the opposite. But the darkness in it, we have the same.
So
that's where you have the same thing.